There are days when you look at the people around you and feel like you're standing on a different level of life. You watch how easily they move through their days, how lightly they treat their responsibilities, how they jump from one thing to another without thinking, and you feel something inside you pull away. It's a strange kind of distance that has nothing to do with age on paper and everything to do with the way your mind works. You sense the difference immediately. They feel young in their decisions, in their reactions, in their priorities, and you feel like someone who has lived through more than your years should allow. You don't mean to feel older, yet something in your thinking places you apart from them, and the gap keeps growing as time goes on. It usually begins with the way you observe life. Some people move without paying attention, while you take in every detail around you. You notice the tone of someone's voice before the meaning of their words. You see the consequences of an action before the action even happens. You understand why something will fall apart long before anyone else sees the signs. This kind of awareness doesn't come from age, it comes from paying attention, and once you start paying attention, you can't go back to the kind of mind that ignores everything. That change alone makes you feel older, because awareness adds weight, and weight adds years, even when your actual age stays the same. There are moments where you see people your age run toward things you know will end badly. They choose friends for excitement instead of character. They make decisions out of impulse instead of thought. They chase anything that feels fun for a moment, even when it damages their long-term life. Watching this creates an internal divide. You don't feel drawn to the same things. You don't feel tempted by the same shortcuts. You don't feel comfortable around people who treat life like a series of temporary thrills. This difference becomes obvious during conversations, because while they talk about the next party or the next trend, you think about the next chapter of your life, the next important move, or the next meaningful step. Another reason you feel older comes from your sense of responsibility. You take responsibility seriously, and not because someone forced you to. You take it seriously because your internal standards refuse anything less. You keep your promises. You think about the future. You care about your actions. You don't treat commitments like optional choices. People your age might cancel plans easily, avoid accountability, or shift blame to others, yet you handle everything with a kind of quiet steadiness. When you carry your responsibilities without hesitation, you naturally feel older, because responsibility builds maturity long before age does. Your emotional understanding also plays a big part. You don't feel comfortable pretending. You don't ignore problems to avoid discomfort. You don't brush off disappointment as if it never happened. You try to understand your reactions, your thoughts, and your triggers. You want to know why something affects you and how to handle it without hurting anyone. You don't expect perfection from people, yet you expect honesty and fairness. This level of emotional clarity usually appears in people who have gone through enough life experiences to understand themselves deeply. So when you show this awareness at a young age, you naturally feel older inside. Sometimes the feeling comes from your relationship with silence. You don't fear being alone. You don't need constant entertainment. You don't panic when things become quiet. You think clearly in silence. You regain energy in silence. You learn more about yourself in silence. People your age often run from silence because it forces them to face their thoughts, and facing thoughts requires maturity they haven't developed yet. Meanwhile, silence feels like home to you. It gives you space to breathe, to reflect, to understand things without noise. This comfort with solitude pushes your inner age forward, because solitude demands a level of self-knowledge that most people don't build until much later in life. Another sign appears in the way you choose your circle. You don't select people based on popularity or appearance. You choose people based on reliability, intention, communication, and character. You prefer slow trust over fast excitement. You prefer certainty over chaos. You prefer honesty over flattery. When you look for these qualities, you end up outgrowing many people your age because they are still exploring friendships based on convenience or entertainment. This makes you drift toward older individuals, not because you want to feel superior, but because older individuals tend to carry the qualities you value. They think longer, they listen better, and they handle life without running from it. Being drawn to this type of company naturally makes you feel older, since your mind aligns with theirs rather than your peers. People who feel older than their age often carry a higher level of self-control. You don't react impulsively. You stop yourself before saying something harmful. You think before you commit to anything. You don't chase instant gratification. You prefer long-term comfort over short-term pleasure. You protect your peace instead of chasing excitement. These behaviors come from discipline, and discipline almost always creates the impression of age. When you see others make choices based on impulse while you base yours on intention, the mental difference becomes clear immediately. Your relationship with time is another reason for the age gap you feel. You value your time because you understand how limited it is. You don't waste hours on people who drain you. You don't stay in environments that make you feel small. You don't invest energy into things that go nowhere. You evaluate everything based on whether it adds or subtracts from your life. When you treat time with respect, you carry a mindset usually found in people who have already lived long enough to understand the cost of wasting it. This mindset adds a sense of mental age that others don't share yet. There is also a deeper reason. You feel older because you reflect. You look back at your actions and ask yourself what they taught you. You observe your mistakes without shame and adjust your path based on what you learned. You try to understand why something failed instead of blaming someone else. You analyze your experiences to become better. Reflection is one of the strongest signs of internal maturity. Many people avoid self-reflection because it forces them to face truths they don't want to acknowledge. You, on the other hand, treat reflection as a tool that guides you, and because you reflect consistently, you grow consistently. Growth builds inner age more than anything else. Another part of this feeling comes from the way you see life. You don't see it as a place where everything is supposed to be easy. You understand that difficulty exists and that effort matters. You know that patience shapes results. You understand that discipline creates progress. You don't expect rewards without work. You don't expect attention without substance. You don't expect respect without consistency. These expectations are usually formed later in life, after people learn through experience, yet you carry them early, and that shapes your inner age dramatically. There is also the matter of boundaries. You don't allow people to walk over you. You know when to step back. You know when someone's behavior crosses a line. You know when something feels wrong. You don't accept disrespect simply because someone is close to you. Strong boundaries make you feel older, because boundaries come from self-awareness and long-term thinking. People your age might still tolerate mistreatment because they fear losing people, while you protect yourself before anything else. And one more thing, you can see through people. You see the truth behind their intentions. You see why they act the way they do. You sense their insecurities, their motives, their weaknesses, their patterns. You understand manipulation without needing it explained. You read people with a clarity that comes from attentiveness rather than age. When you understand people at that level, others will always feel younger to you because they don't see the same layers you see instantly. Eventually, you realize that the feeling of being older isn't about superiority. It's about difference. You think differently. You prioritize differently. You see life differently. You carry a different kind of awareness. You understand things earlier than others. And when your mind moves faster, deeper, or more responsibly than the people around you, you begin to feel like you're living in a different stage of life entirely. Feeling older than everyone around you means your inner world grew sooner. It means you developed clarity early. It means you learned lessons some people won't learn for years. You don't need to force yourself to match the energy of people who move lightly through life. You only need to understand that inner age grows in its own timeline, and yours grew early because your mind, your experiences, your values, and your awareness demanded it. If you have made it this far, Let us know what you think in the comment section below. For more interesting topics, make sure you watch the recommended video that you see on the screen right now. Thanks for watching.